I think I'm ready. Hold on. Can we have some shots, please?
For whoever's editing, sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, we're not going to give you that right now. Yeah.
I just want to encourage people to be their most authentic self.
I've never been able to do this.
Cheers.
It's us.
What's up, everyone? Welcome. Thank you for joining us here, wherever you are on the interwebs. We're calling this Sari-Sari.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Sari-Sari is kind of like...
It's like a Filipino bodega.
Yeah.
I think the best way to describe it. And
Yeah.
if you don't know what bodega is, it's like a deli, convenience store, and, you know, it's where you can get everything.
Get everything, meet anyone, and for us, like, this conversation is just kind of like no limits, whatever we want.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know us, this is Jordan.
What's up?
He's a chef, host, entrepreneur, my homie,
Yeah.
my brother from another mother. Like, here in New York, Flip Sigi. We're in his restaurant right now.
Welcome. That's how I identify myself. I'm the chef and owner of Flip Sigi. I do some other stuff on the side, but this is what I want to be known for. It's a Filipino taqueria, so imagine Filipino foods, Mexican vessels, so it's like sandwiches, tacos, bowls, burritos, a little bit of Filipino love sprinkled all about. And my goal, and I think, I think that's part of the reason, actually, this is the reason why you and I even connected, right? It's like this restaurant is my goal, and I want to introduce our heritage and our culture and our cuisine to the American masses. So I felt like the only way to do that was a fun, tangible, accessible restaurant. So here we are.
Nice.
And it brought us here together. I know, but my turn. So this is David. For all y'all who don't know, we're hyphen. We're hyphen like talented here, which means this man is a musical producer, recording artist, international, just recognized genius, my homie, fellow Filipino Pinoy, and just someone whom I've been learning so much from when it comes from this like musical media tech side that I didn't even understand, and I appreciate you being here. But I'm sure I'd give you the all due justice, and then of course the number one. Have you ever heard of this band called Arizona? Dude, I gotta tell you, like when I was first introduced to his music, it's vibes. Everything about the music that you produce is vibes. It makes people feel good, and I play it in my offices, my house, my headphones, my restaurants, and it's a pleasure to know you, man.
Thank you. Likewise. Yeah. Because it's AAPI, it's May. It's our Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Yeah. What we're doing is we're talking about the month. We're highlighting our Filipino roots, and we're talking about the recent atrocities against Asians all across the U.S. So, part of what we want to do is we want to shed light on these, bring conversation to it, but also highlight organizations that are helping to kind of eliminate and combat them. So, first off, we have Gold House, and that's meant to kind of, on a systemic level, stop racial injustices against Asians. So
bring equity, equality.
And bring equity and equality to everyone. So make sure you check out Gold House. And of course, to kind of stop the hate immediately and help those that have been affected most recently from these tragedies. Make sure you go visit stopaapihate.org. And that right there is going to, help donate and fund the people who have most recently been affected by all this. So, we're going to do our part, which we'll tell you about a little bit later on in this episode. But, it'll culminate with that little treat so you can maybe taste a little bit of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you want to dive in?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. So, we're for our first we'll call it episode. We're talking the AAPI Heritage Month, and specifically, at one point we want to get into a little bit nitty gritty of it, and I want to talk about all the, we'll call them atrocities that have been happening to Asian Americans all around the country.
Yeah.
And it's sad and it's shameful at times, but it's something that you need to talk about, and that's why we're here. We're here to open up dialogue, bring conversation, and put a spotlight on the fact that it's not just happening Like, just because it doesn't happen to like direct people like us, it's people whom come from the same land, same culture, and it hits and it resonates. I don't know about you. Like, how do you feel when you see that and you see a Filipino bloodied on the sidewalk, but you don't know, but you know it's Filipino?
I mean, my visceral reaction is like, that could be my dad, that could be my mom, that could be my grandfather. You know, my Lola. Like, I think that's the touch point for me, is that like, and that's the whole thing about, in reverse, like that's the thing about representation, right? Like you and I as Filipinos in our respective sort of like industries are faces that people can recognize that look like them. And so they know, hey, like it's possible for me to be in that space because I could see someone already in that space. And I think when we talk about the violence that's been happening recently, I think it has almost the same effect on me, but like in a negative way, which is like, that could be me. That could be anyone that I know. And it's been a mix of things too, because like, in a way, being like who we are, like we have platforms, and I kind of like feel this obligation to really speak out, but at the same time, like when you're thinking about it and feeling it, it's almost hard to verbalize.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a visceral reaction too, because you're like, damn, like, fuck this, but
it's bullshit.
Like,
I hate it.
And there's that part of me that's like, man, I really just want to say that, but I'm also like, I want to say something meaningful too. You know what I mean? Like, it's that balance.
Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, I think, you know, obviously it's wrong. We want to, you know, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And I think together as a community, like we're helping each other cope. We're helping each other to defend each other. You know, like I've been hearing about like street teams of people handing out like pepper spray and like,
dude, that's
like
awesome. I know
escorting our elderly down the street, like stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, I think it's been a trying time for us, but I think also the Asian community, I think, is really stepping up.
Resilient.
Yeah, super resilient. And I think that, like, you know, at least for me, like my parents are immigrants, like they were hella resilient, so it makes sense to me. But it's definitely, you know, you hate to see it too.
It hits home.
When we were talking about like what we were gonna talk about, when like we called each other like a couple of weeks ago, I think, what was it? You know, you were talking about how you're still trying to find your voice as an Asian American, as a prominent Asian American, and we were like gonna lead into something else, but I was like, yo, like that's it, that's the convo, like, and I think for me, and I think possibly for you as well, like I know there's this sort of weird moment in like talking about our Asian American identity, because I think a lot of us have this opportunity to like put it aside that maybe like not other minority groups have. Like, you know, like Asians are like, there's this consideration of like model minority, and
that's real.
I think in a way, like we play into it. We like set aside our Asianness, our Filipino-ness. We try to assimilate, and there's kind of like this choice of like, do I blend in or am I the other? And I think for a lot of us, like we can take this chance to like assimilate, blend in, you know, do what we need to do. But then there's this point where you're like, what do I do with my heritage?
And that's how we got here, because I truly don't, like, I mean, for a while, I mean, actually, no, I don't know even to this point. Like, I know, and I think you and I really bond on this. It's like, we know that we love where we come from, and we love that we're Filipino, But are we like, what do we do with that? And because we're kind of alienated a little bit from like, you know, the Filipinos like our age in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And we're not like quite American, because if we were American, then we would not be brown, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
like where do we fit in?
exactly. It's and it's weird because like I think growing up, like it's not as cool as it is today to be, you know, different.
100%.
Like I think that's something that is changing with the world. And I think that also is what brings us to this point of like, oh wow, like am I going to start introducing my heritage into what I do, into my daily life? Is it going to be a part of how I identify, what I call myself, how I move in this world? And I think like obviously you and I now are at this point where like you have a restaurant, Filipino Taqueria, and like I am very vocal about being Filipino, and you know sometimes I'm putting the flag up where I am. I'm trying to do, you know, you and I are doing stuff together now, and like just to like wave the flag. And I think for me, the decision really came out of need. So like as a young kid, I knew I wanted to do music. I knew I wanted to be creative. And growing up, all I really had to look up to was like Apple to App from the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, yo.
And like
Bebo, right?
Yeah.
Bebo.
Ikaw ang akin. Yeah. And so I had like Apple to App, and then Chad Hugo from the Neptunes.
Oh yeah.
Right? Who like isn't even like
He
you
is,
have to like you have to dig for that.
Yeah.
And so, but for me, I looked up to those guys and I was like, yo, if they're there, they look like me, I can do it too. And so that kind of brought on this journey for me of like, how am I going to be that for other people? Because I needed that for myself. That was a major inspiration for me.
When did you, I'd love to know when did you have that epiphany? Like that, what you're talking about? Like how old were you? Was it recent? Was it like, or?
I think see, that's the thing. So like there were a couple stages to it, which is like early life. I was like, nah, I'm just going to try to fit in. Later on, I felt like I recognized I was Filipino. I recognized I was Asian. Mm-hmm. And I think like that step was like, let me just like be homies with all my Asian friends and just like, because they have some sort of lived experiences similar to mine. We get along. And then in college, I actually like was part of like the executive board of like the Asian club.
Oh, word. Okay,
like,
okay. So it grew.
It
like,
grew
yeah.
over time, but definitely like once Arizona was signed and we were talking about how we want to like live in the world as Arizona, I made a decision like I also need to live in the world like carrying the flag of like being Filipino so that I could represent and so that other people can look at the music industry and be like, oh, there's Filipinos here.
I love that because that was the responsible decision, you know, and I like that you made that on your own volition. It because the thing is, I admire that because that didn't happen to me. Like I didn't do that. Like I pushed away my Filipino-ness pretty much my whole life, and it's not that I was ashamed of it. I didn't know what to do with it. It's kind of why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, and this is probably like, you know, it's just since the restaurant opened, it's like the impact that Filipino food cuisine culture can have after seeing that, or not even seeing it, like even before it was realized, like thinking about, wow, it's like, wait, all these other countries had their time, like why can't Filipino, right? And I think it's, you know, coming into your mindset later on in life has made me, in a way, like feel guilty that I didn't recognize it sooner, and so I'm trying to make up lost time.
I feel that. I think it's such a tricky thing too, because it's like, who is anyone to say you should accept this much of your Asian heritage or not? You know what I mean? Like, for me, I look at you and I hear that and I'm like, yo, but you made it there to that point. Like, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. And I think, like, it kind of brings about this question of, like, who gets to say, like, yeah, you're repping it or not? And then how much responsibility do we have to rep it? And then at the end of the day, is it going to be authentic?
Right?
Like
those what questions, right? Because we're not from there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we were like.
Well, also hold on. I need to say this to everyone. So I'm actually Filipino Canadian. I have a green card.
Filipino North American.
North American, yeah. But I just, I got to rep the Canada here. Bring out the flag. I got Canadian little things all over here. I got poutine on my menu. Okay, anyway. No, but no, I think that's a good question, because it's like, who is the police here? Or is there like a board of directors on, like, hey, if you're this percentage Filipino, you must reference your culture this many times? And I think the answer to that is we are that. And I think we are setting the stage to show people, all Filipinos, of you are 1% Filipino, you're 100%, and everyone in between, that as long as you're repping it, and I think that's what the BLM movement, I think that's what's happening now with the more progressive thinking just in the world in general. As long as you're saying something, people can support in many different ways, but I think we've now realized that silence is compliance.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, at least for me, like, I guess I'm not trying to, like, there are people out in the world trying to police people on this, like, trying to be like, no, you're not it, or you are it.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's like, I just want to encourage people to be their most authentic self. And I think part of having a strong self-identity is investigating your heritage.
Yeah.
And then, so, like, for me, it's more like, did you go on the journey? It's like everything in life isn't about A or B. It's about how you got there.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, for me, I'm just, like, trying to encourage people, like, go on the journey. And there are going to be people like us to help you along the way. And there's going to be, your friends and family around you as well. Like, but it's worthwhile.
It's about start the journey.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, I agree.
Like,
but
there's
just start.
There's no, like, status that we need to aspire to. It's just like, hey, like, go on that journey.
Yeah.
Don't
just sit there.
It's a good trip. Like, it's a good trip, and you're gonna be fine, and you might learn some things, and I think that, for me, so, like, for like every person in general, I'm like, yo, go on that journey. I do feel like I hold people like us to, like, a slightly higher standard, just like how the world holds anyone that has a platform to a higher standard, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
and I believe being in that position of being or thought of as held in a higher standard, I think that's reasonable, because, like, if we wanted, and we want the eyes on us, we want the media, we want all of that, right?
Yeah.
So we're here, and part of that is to be responsible with the platform as well.
Yeah. With great power comes
Great responsibility.
great responsibility, and
Uncle
so
Ben. Respect.
and so,
Tito Ben.
and so, like, yeah, I just, wow.
That's good, right?
Wow.
That's really good.
Yeah, man. And so, like, that's the reason why I am like, I need to carry this flag.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily even a cultural pressure. It's like a principle within me that's like, yo, if I'm gonna be out here and doing this, then I gotta do it. Which, you know, I don't like. I just, for me, I know what I could do for myself, and I know what I could encourage other people to do, but I can't be there and be like, you do like I do, you know.
Because I think that it's wrong. If you do that, I think you need to lead by example, but I definitely don't think you need to like set the example and then tell people to follow it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we need, people in our position, we need to inspire people to want to follow that example, and that's truly how I live my life. Like, I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm here to spark something that hopefully leads to something positive in your own life.
And I think like that's what you're doing here at the restaurant, right? Like, I'm sure someone out there has been like, this isn't real Filipino food. This is like a fusion.
Are you kidding me? That happens on a monthly basis.
You know?
Every month since we've been open.
But the heart behind it is that spark, that opening of the door, that beginning of the journey. And I think, I mean, how do you handle that? Like, is that something that comes up like often enough where like you're just like brick walled about it, or like do you interact with anyone that says that? Or
that, I'll tell you, that happened a lot more when the Flip Sigi first opened, because I want to touch on this. So before, when I first opened Flip Sigi, it wasn't called Flip Sigi, it was called Second City.
Okay.
And get this, and I can't. This conversation just made me realize this right now. It was called Second City, not because it's from where my mom is from, which is the second largest city in the Philippines. It's because me and my two partners made a concerted effort to not make the brand too Filipino.
Oh.
Isn't that wild? Because we wanted to, as you said, assimilate into the food culture of New York. We didn't want it to be something that would alienate ourselves. We looked at it as alienation, not as distinction or a unique brand. And we said, if it's too Filipino, will people come? Which is fucking outrageous to think that that's how small-minded that I thought about this 6 years ago. And then because we saw that we were making Filipinos proud, and with the every now and then the person coming and telling me it's not Filipino food, which happens.
Yeah.
Also, to the people that said that, hi. So I think, I can't believe that. Like, that's why I did that. And yet, a year into it, we inspired so many people. We made people happy and proud of their food. Immediately, we're like, we got to change the name. And I'll tell you this too. It's half and half. It was, we had to change the name because we recognized that, but also we were just like, Second City. Like, what is that? Like, it's actually a comedy troupe in Chicago that could potentially sue us. So we're just like, all right, like there's many a reason here.
Yeah.
So we went with Flip Sigi, right? And going to the name too, Flip, which a lot of Filipinos watching this may not like, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like derogatory.
It is.
Yeah.
It's I would say to anyone, like any Filipinos that are pretty much like 50 or 60 and up, are gonna be like, yo, you can't call us Flips.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if in case no one knows, it stands for fucking Little Island people. And it's rude, but I think this brand and Flip Sigi, it's meant to take what you think is status quo, flip it on its head, and be like, no, like, I'm gonna throw it back in your face.
Yeah.
And we're definitely rebellious in this restaurant, and that's why I went there. So it's Flip, Filipino, and then Sigi. It's more the phonetic way of saying it, but Sigi means yo, it means go, it means whatever, like it means yell. So in this case, go Filipino.
Yeah.
And now I'm proud. Like, now I'm proud of it, and I know Filipinos are proud of it. But the fact that this started as a restaurant that I wanted to showcase my abilities and my culture, abilities, not my culture, but kind of, and like in this weird like almost model minority way, like I was, all the things that you and I are talking about, how we are evolving as AAPI. Like, I was a victim to that when I opened this restaurant 6 years ago. Wild.
But the thing is that you're on the journey, right? Like that's
Yeah.
and
I'm okay with that.
yeah. But it's something we all go through. You know.
Actually, well, can I ask?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you're in the middle of the thought, but if we're on the naming of our second beings, right? Flip, Sigi, Jordan, David, Arizona.
Yeah.
How did that come up?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it was like a tongue-in-cheek joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Arizona was like, we're not being paid for this. So like, there's a beverage.
Yeah.
That's also the name of a state.
Yeah.
And
The green tea of that's pretty good.
Nate was wearing a hat, and we were on FaceTime because we were on 2 different coasts, and they had just finished like the first draft of "Let Me Touch Your Fire." They sent it over to me.
Okay.
I was like, "Yo, like, what is this? Like, what artist is this for?" Because we were working on a whole bunch of different things at the time, and they were like, "No, this is just us, man." And I was like, "Okay." And we kind of got to thinking, like, we should start this. In LA, there's this thing like Artist Project, which is like when a producer is like tired of working with artists and just like wants to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
They go crazy and like they do this artist project for like 3 months and then it like flops and then they go back to producing. For us, like we were nobody and then we do this artist project, disappear, and then all of a sudden it's Arizona. But like Nate literally wore a hat, and then I just like, so you know like the band Churches is like CHRV.
Yeah.
And then Laney was like all caps, and so I was like, yo, we got to do caps and then spaces. I typed it back to them, and they were like, this is it. Like, we just got to call it Arizona, and it stuck. And quite honestly, it was the worst search engine optimization decision I could have ever made. Like, I'm at a point where like I can't even ask Siri to play like, you know, the music because I got to be like, play ARIZON. Yeah. Yeah, and we're all Jersey boys, so that's even better. So like, good. It has nothing to do with like the state at all. It really has more to do with late night bodega runs.
Sorry.
So yeah, full circle. I just landed.
Damn, that was
took
good.
us on a journey,
Did you
landed
see
the
that?
plane.
We just went right back.
Yeah, it's just sorry story right there.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, I mean, to us it just signifies our late nights as homies, which are
the best time. Actually, funny enough, that's literally what we're living.
Yeah, that's literally what
at this exact moment right now. Well, all right. Well, dude, that's fucking great. Okay, so I'm really loving this. I think this is exactly what everything we're talking about right now is what I was intentionally keeping bottled up because like we could have had these conversations on FaceTime, on text right before we were setting up. But it's nice and it's cathartic. And I'll be real with you, it's emotional, and and it's emotional because I've never been able to do this. And when I say ever, like, not to a therapist, not to my best friends, not to my fiance, not to my family. Like, I swear to God, it's weird because this is the first time I've been able to speak about me, my identity, my Filipino heritage, my profession, all in one, ever. So, thank you. Yeah. And it's weird that, like, people like us find this is the way to do it the first time. You know, why do it like this? But I guess as creatives and as artists, we just kind of like this is our release, and this is where we feel most comfortable.
Absolutely.
I'd feel less comfortable if it's just you and I in a dark fucking room talking about it, right? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, but okay, so like I think we hit so many like great topics just up until now, but what a lot of what you were saying earlier via like these notes, I think is something that like I resonated with, and I definitely want to hit because, you know, as we go through these topics, my brain at least goes 1,000 different ways, and I could just take one thing you say and go on an aside into a different lane highway universe world. So the structure is definitely keeping me honest.
Yeah.
You down?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
So I guess here's a great question that you posed. So it's like, what does it mean to be an AAPI in our industries? So I'll let you start. So what does it mean to be an AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander, in the music industry?
Oh. Man. You know what? It's funny. I wrote this question down. I didn't even ask myself. So this is just like
This is your
absolutely,
question.
this is my question. I think I'm going to circle back to it again. Like for me, the link is representation always. I can't even really name you who like my peers are in the music industry, like that are Filipino. I mean, I know a few. Shout out to like my boy Sweater Beats. And like I know like, for instance, like I know Olivia Rodrigo is like half.
Yeah.
But like I dug for that. You know what I mean? So it's for me it's just about in the industry and with my platform, it's about raising that flag. It's about saying, hey, like we're here. And it's about telling all of our Asian community, like, hey, like you have a place here too, and the water's fine. Like, come on in.
Do you think, like a genuine? Actually, no, not think. I'm sure you've experienced it. Do you believe that you using your voice and platform as a Filipino in music have can you give me 1, 2, 20 examples of how a Filipino has been inspired to pursue music because of you? Or anything in that range, be like, like sparked interest in it or looked up to it.
I mean, the biggest thing is like, I think after shows, I get a lot of people that are like, yo, like it's just so dope to see a Filipino up on stage.
Don't you love hearing that?
Like, or, finally someone that like looks like me is doing this. And especially also because like we're kind of in like the left of center pop space, which I don't think is really occupied by too many Filipino folks. So like being, especially in the genre that we're in, for a lot of people is like, oh, yo, like that's sick. Cause, maybe we expect it in pop or like R&B, especially because like Filipinos love like pop
culture
and R&B and like
special R&B.
A lot of like, I think like Filipino artists like honestly try to like appropriate like American black like art culture like
without a doubt.
So
without a doubt,
it's yeah. I mean that's basically the extent of that sort of experience,
like that.
How is it like for you?
I think I find it confounding, I think is a good way to describe it, because there's so many Filipinos in kitchens. Like there really are. Kitchen cruises, Middle East.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Filipino restaurants, but there's a slew of very talented, amazing Filipino restaurateurs, chefs, cooks, and bartenders, everything. And what I think is crazy about it is I don't find, given how many Filipinos are in hospitality, especially because I think people know we're a very hospitable country. We're a very hospitable people.
Yeah.
It's not proportionate into the media side of it. So in food, there's a lot. I think it's a good mix and a good group of people who are in food, like when it comes to Filipinos. But when you talk about food media, it's difficult for me to even begin to think how many like Filipinos, male or female, or anything that you identify with, on TV. Like and it's because of that I So I fell ass backwards into TV. Like I really did. Like like the way it happened, my buddy goes, "Hey, I need your resume, because a friend of mine's applying to culinary school." I'm like, "Sure." Sent it to him. He goes, "Cool, you've been applied for Chopped." I was like, "What?" He goes, "I use your Facebook profile picture. I've known you for 18 years at the time, so I answered all your questions, and I just need your resume." And I was like, "Sweet, like that's dope. I mean, I'll if I get it, I'll do it because you did it for me. But like, they're not gonna call." 2 weeks later,
They call. Yeah.
And so, so then you see it, then you start experiencing the whole Food Network world, and one just kind of leads to the other. Like, and I was in a fortunate position that at the time there weren't very many Filipinos in food, like food media, and then this was before social media truly took off, and I was like, okay, well, like I did Chop, that was cool. Like I don't know, who knows if that'll ever lead to anything else.
Yeah.
But somehow they liked me. They liked something about what I did, my look, whatever it may have been, and then Beat Bobby Flay called. And then after Beat Bobby Flay called, I had an entrance like a wrestler. They had swinging doors. I come up, I'm just like, "Let's go!" And I kick it open with smoke, and I'm just like, "What?" Like I was ready.
Wait, real quick, did you beat Bobby Flay?
All right.
Is it rigged? Are we giving away like deep?
I think let's get into food competition shows and another one.
Okay.
But I will say in this one, I did not.
Oh.
I lost because I messed up my kimchi fried rice, and the egg in it specifically was overcooked. But
yeah, we'll get back. Well, yeah.
It just
that's another
trigger.
Sorry. I didn't know.
I'm so competitive, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
so you
Filipinos in media.
You did Chopped. You did Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
You kicked down all these doors. You were like, I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah, and I just I was just unapologetically me, and that seemed to have resonated with media, and then so my career has since grown in that. But it's strange because that was never my intent. My intent was to be a chef and be known for my food. Yeah. So it's weird to me that like simultaneously as this restaurant has taken off, so has my TV career. But as we spoke about earlier, now what we're talking about, what does it mean to be Asian in media? I find that it goes beyond like with great power comes great responsibility. I feel I owe it. Literally owe. I feel like I owe Asians. I owe in a way like any and all Hispanics because of I believe they are the backbone. They are the spine and the nervous system of food in the United States of America. And I believe that it is I owe it to these people that have helped me get here to give them something positive to look forward to give them something that their kids can emulate, to give them a reason to try harder because they know that they can eventually get to a position like mine. Yeah. And what's crazy is that I truly don't even believe that I have gotten to a position. I don't. Like, when I look in the mirror, I only see ways and things that I can improve.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I never sit back and I'm just like, yo, leg back, you did it.
Yeah.
We crushed it. No. Maybe that event, maybe that one thing. Yeah, it's like, hey, like respect, props, that event went well, good dinner. Like, how do we improve? Right before this, me and my partner Drew, like so Drew, he essentially runs my life. And he runs my social media. This man, like we were just talking about ways that we can improve the setup of today already, and we didn't even start yet, but we're talking about ways of how to improve. So it's like, I want people to understand that as an Asian in food media, you need to find your voice. You need to be unapologetically you, and you need to, and I think you need to let the haters that inevitably will try to troll you, hate on you, and bring you down. You need to take that, use it as fuel, and say, just wait, motherfucker, just wait.
Yeah. It's funny that you were talking about like owe it and this idea of like making it, and you and I were talking earlier about this idea of linked fate, which is like a political science. Like it's derived from let's
go there.
This like African American studies, like political science school of thought, which I'm totally gonna butcher, but basically the idea.
Yeah, what was the concept?
The generalized. I apologize for everyone out there listening. That's gonna be like no, but like maybe. But the idea that like when, like, the people in your group of people that you identify with, like if one does well or does poorly, like how does that affect you? Like what happens to one person? Does it affect you, being that you're identifying as part of the same, like, heritage? So
would an example be if let's use a negative. If one Filipino is caught like petty robbery and just like standing up a liquor store or something like that, and then that's then splashed on the media saying Filipino man robs liquor store.
Yeah. Or I mean, let's just talk about like COVID.
Okay.
Right? China virus.
Yeah.
All this rhetoric like blaming Asians for coronavirus, and like or like even, you know, when they say like China virus, but then that affects all of us as Asians.
Yeah.
Right? Because like we're put into this.
And so you're saying linked fate is the thought process that individuals will go through.
Well, it's the idea that like the one person, like what happens to one person in your group, like affects your outcomes.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
So like
and I think that's a real thing.
So I think like for us, like when we say like we owe it and we're like trying to make it and we're making it, like to you, is that also like a sort of like advancement for our, like for other Asians?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you feel that? Like
I know. I do feel that, and I thought that. Like I thought when it was called the China virus, I was like, wow, like because it's called the China virus, not only will Chinese people now be persecuted wrongly for making this pandemic happen, which is a fucking lie, but I might at some point or another be like, oh, like you're Chinese and you're the reason why the pandemic happened. And so, and I thought about it. Did it you know take over my thoughts? No, but like it's something that I thought of multiple times throughout the pandemic last year, and now, yes, it definitely happened. So, but I also believe on the flip side, that I think that, you know, I identify as Asian, right? And I think that if I see, example, a movie like Mortal Kombat comes out, right? And I see a whole cast of people who are literally on screen looking dope, being heroes, being valiant and respected and revered. Mm-hmm. Do I think that me, my heritage, my country, people who look like me will do better because of that? Without a doubt. Yeah.
It's just like when like Crazy Rich Asians came out, you know, Parasite, like, you know, all Asian casts, like, and especially Crazy Rich Asians with like the diversity of, you know, it's like I felt a boost from that. Yeah.
I almost cried, dude. I was just, I know so many people too. Yeah. There's this she's a good friend of mine. Her name is Kimmy Yam, and she, I don't know if you remember, like it was a viral tweet. Like it got retweeted like literally 30+ million times. It was an 8-part tweet about how watching Crazy Rich Asians made her feel. I didn't. You ever remember?
I think I saw it.
And like, it was everywhere, and it was just like comes out. It's like I'm writing this, and it's like I'm writing this because this is the first time I'm seeing someone represented on screen that looks anything remotely like me in a way that's positive and heroic. And then the next one is like, it's like this one is for my great grandfather who opened up a convenience store and was hated on, but now I'm proud to my family had a Chinese restaurant takeout, and I was ashamed. And she was like, I was ashamed to say that, like, that's what my father did. And now, like, I couldn't be more proud. And it's like, yeah, I think that linked fate, right? Yeah. I think that linked fate is without a doubt something that all POC minorities should believe in, because the more, and not just Asians, right? Like, the more you see people who aren't white on screen in positions of power, in positions even better of influence, because sometimes positions of power can mean jack shit, or in positions of influence that's a lot different. I think the more that people, regardless of the color or the race, but as long as they're just not a plain old white person, like, people are gonna go, oh, dude, like that's cool. Like, I mean, why can't I do that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love linked. I love that idea. I think linked fate is something that, like, I just heard today that I'm now gonna, like, hug.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a big deal for us. Like, I mean, it's like a concept that we just talked about today, but like, it's something that we've felt for so long.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why we do this. That's part of why, we try to take it and run with it. Our repping the flag.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it kosher to just like leave one of these things and then just go to the bathroom and come back? Is that, like, how does that work? I've never done this before. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. I mean, you could pee in this cup on screen if you really want to. Like,
I guess technically we do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I just need about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Just remember that you've got a lav on, so like, don't do any weird shit in there.
Yeah. No weird shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right.
To be continued.
So this is just me by myself now. For whoever's editing, sorry, but not sorry. Well, now that you're back from the loo.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back. Raul, can we have some shots, please?
Oh yeah, how many?
Let's start with 4 for now, and then we'll see what happens.
Oh man.
But they're mixed.
Okay.
They're not like full, like, straight. It's calamansi, like, it's like Soko limes, but calamansi versions of that. Yeah. It's all right, but just have like one, and then
Yeah.
I'll take 3.
No. Well,
that's fine.
no. I'm gonna have these shots. It's all good because I keep Pedialyte in the fridge, bro.
Let's
We're
go,
good.
dude.
Like, we could go all night if you want.
Listen, I don't get hungover, so, like, let's go.
So while we're waiting for
Okay,
this,
yeah, let's go.
I guess as we kind of try to wrap the plane, because we could go all day, but
we could really.
we have to, like,
Yeah.
consciously like land the plane.
Agreed.
What do you want to see in the future? Like, what's your hope in all this? And it doesn't even have to be for other people, like, because you're on this journey, like we all are. So, like, even just for yourself, like, where do you see it progressing, or are you just like,
That's a really good question. I want to, like, I want to work my way up to the point where I can say out loud, in public, on camera to hundreds of thousands of millions of people, exactly how I feel for the right cause, or at least what I deem is the right cause. And I think my moral compass is pretty much aligned with 99% of the normal, moral people out there.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to say it without thinking about the repercussions of my career. And specifically, thank you, sir. Respect.
I'm just gonna.
So one is for later, one is for now. Hey, can I have another Guinness, please, sir? I got you. You're the best. Thank you. Well, cheers first. Cheers to us. Good first round. So, like, and what that means, and I have an answer for that 2 ways. I think when it comes to me, me trying to find my voice, I think about a lot of the repercussions professionally. I would say a majority, but others as well, where am I going, and I think about this, am I going against who I am by being more outspoken than I ever was? And because, like, typically I kind of just let things slide. I was easygoing. I'm just like, it's all good, man. Like, everything will work out. So by creating the ruffles and the ripples in the water, is it like am I going out against myself? Like you know, and like by speaking up, am I trying to be someone new?
Yeah.
And I hate that, right? I want to be able to say, I don't like that I see other Asians being brutalized in the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Out loud, in front of everyone, and that's it. And then period. And I want someone to hear that, and I want them to, the next time they see something, to go, oh yeah, hey, like please don't do that, or just do something right when no one's looking. And I hope that's what I'm inspiring.
Yeah. I think that's the whole thing, right? Is like we're talking about this choice between being othered and assimilating, and then we have this choice of like, you know, what are the repercussions if we are who we are and we say what we want to say? And I agree. Like I hope that as we grow on this journey, that like we just become unapologetically who we are, without thinking twice.
Yeah, correct.
So just like any trip to the Sari-Sari store, we're gonna have to check out.
Gotta check out.
So you want to tell them about what's going on here at the restaurant?
Yeah, listen. All right, cool. So, all right, everyone. So straight up, if you liked what you saw, what you heard today, now you can taste it, because the people over at Arizona, David specifically, have given me the inspiration for my May special here at the restaurant. It's going to be called the Titi Taco, or the Titty Taco. Take your pick on how you want to say it.
Yeah, whichever.
It stands for Torta Talong Taco. And basically what that means is it's an eggplant charred, dipped in egg, with Oaxacan cheese, pico de gallo, and scallion, all on a nice corn tortilla. It's great. It's delicious. It's available the entire month of May. It'll be $4.95, and it's $4.95 per taco, because every dollar of every taco sold will be going towards the organizations that we mentioned earlier, which is Gold House and StopAAPIHate.org. That's right. Every dollar is going to go towards those two organizations at the end of the month. So come by, have a taste of this conversation in the restaurant by getting the Titi Taco here at Flip Sigi. Everyone, I'm Jordan Andino. This is David. Can you leave your last name?
Labuguen.
This is David Labuguen, because for some reason I want to do the UN differently.
Yeah.
So I'm Jordan Andino. This is David Labuguen. Flip Sigi, Arizona. We here. We had a great time. Welcome to Sari-Sari, but sorry, we gotta go. Peace.